Hi there, it's Sarah from Inspire Tarot. Welcome to the channel. Let's see what message Spirit has for us today. Whoops. The Three of Swords. Wow. Okay. So this is all about heartbreak. Could be a painful ending. Lots of sorrow and pain and sadness and betrayal coming up. And the way I'm perceiving this today is it's of ourselves. We're not being true to ourselves. We feel very much as though we don't have a right to be ourselves. And yeah, this brings up a lot of heavy energy. And it stems from obviously our belief in our separation from our source. And can just bring up a lot of very deep and painful emotions and distorted feelings for the Spirit to help us work through. So yeah, it could be that we're rejecting ourselves or betraying ourselves. That we feel very kind of full of grief and disappointment with ourselves. One thing that I find difficult is when all the self-hatred comes up and you can really see in the external world how much you're hating and rejecting yourself by what comes back to you. It can be painful to look at. But if we don't look at it, then we can't heal. And that's that. So we're looking at it with the Spirit. And remembering this too shall pass. So we also have the Wheel of Fortune and Temperance. The Wheel of Fortune is very much about reminding us that change is constant, and that there's always harmony in the chaos. And quite often when we're healing, the ego doesn't like it and will see it as a bad thing and tell us that we're going backwards and we're doing things wrong and everything. But the Spirit's always reminding us that we need to add the light into the darkness. We need to balance the two together. And remember that the darkness isn't really real. The darkness can feel very real when we've got a lot of dark beliefs coming up. But yeah, Temperance is reminding us to zoom out and kind of find that place of equanimity where we're not listening to the ego. And we can feel very just calm. It's all about feeling balanced and settled and peaceful in this state. It's like a reset back to our equilibrium, I would say, with that card. And the Chariot is about moving forward in a balanced way, which is a good card, I would say, to come after Temperance. It means that we've restabilized and we're moving forwards with confidence, knowing that we're completely on the right path and that we've been balancing the darkness and the light and that we're doing really well. And the Spirit's cheering us on. And Justice. The Justice card is a reminder all about natural law, the law of love. That, yeah, everything that's happening to us is good for us. And that I love this card. This is probably one of my favourite cards in the Justice card, is that it's justice according to God, not according to the laws of this land. And God's wisdom is much higher. It's kind of, we have to see things from the perspective of loving ourselves and others equally. And when we don't do that, then we'll be realigned. And it can feel as though if we're not loving ourselves, that the external world is hard on us or harsh on us. But it's always redirecting us back to ourselves. And there's not really any other way that the Spirit can do this other than for us to learn through challenges. I mean, we can, the more we love ourselves, the more likely we are to just do the healing without the pain and suffering. But also sometimes it takes the pain and suffering to redirect us back to the truth and to love and look after ourselves. So yeah, all is good. That one. The Magician. So yeah, the Magician is reminding us that the magic is within us, that the kingdom of heaven is within. And we just need to align our mind and heart with the truth and be very focused on our spiritual path and kind of alchemizing the darkness and going through the darkness. Remembering that we can create anything we want in this physical world, and to change our perception is a huge thing that we really need to do. Oh, they're all falling out. Let's have that one. The Star is a card all about healing. Again, this is one of my favourite cards. It's usually a card to show us that we're on the right track, and that we can trust in the divine and that we've got hope. So whenever this card comes out, it's always a really good sign that things are progressing well. The Empress. I need to move these cards down. So yeah, the Empress is definitely a card about our wholeness and completeness, and reminding us that sometimes the Empress has to be quite very strong and tenacious and tough on this spiritual path. That it's not just about being nurturing and gentle. The Empress fully embodies all of the suits, including the swords. So yeah, the Empress is a force to be reckoned with, and she kind of forces us to attain our highest good by never letting us rest on our laurels. But the Empress does it in such a kind and gentle way, in that she kind of lets everything be as they are. She'll point out things, but then let people heal in their own time and let everything be as it is, but at the same time not taking any nonsense and really pursuing the higher good, which is what we need. The Six of Cups. So the Six of Cups card is all about having happy memories from the past. I think sometimes, I know that when I've been healing, sometimes if you feel a bit sensitive, you kind of want to go back to, you might want to watch some old movies or something from the past. Anything that reminds you of being young and being safe. And yeah, so I think sometimes, I like it when this card comes out. It's one of those things where we can just, if we're feeling tired, that we can just maybe watch an old movie or do something that's familiar and comforting. Maybe cook some comfort food or see an old friend, something like that. Too many cards poking out. Let's just have one, please, Spirit. Oh. So that one. And two. Judgment on the world. So the Judgment card is very much about us ascending and our awakening. Showing us that we're going through a rebirth and following our inner calling, and we're being called to action, to rise up and definitely release our old patterns and look at ourselves, but also be gentle with ourselves as we go through the integration process, because it can feel quite grueling sometimes. But it's a good sign when the darkness comes up, and when this card comes out. In fact, when we have so many cards from the major arcana, it just shows that we're going through a lot of intense shifts. There's so many major arcana cards in this reading that it can feel as though we're going through a lot of heaviness and a lot of darkness, but we're doing really well. And the World card shows us that we can celebrate our accomplishments, that we're expanding, and we can trust the process. Our consciousness is becoming more zoomed out. We're seeing the bigger picture more. We're trusting that we're on the right path and that we're healing well. And we can just keep going. I can't believe how many major arcana cards are in this reading. Must be going through it. Let's have another 3, please, Spirit. Three. 9 of Swords, King of Swords, and the 4. We're straight. So yeah, the 9 of Swords is, it's kind of a card of going through a lot of darkness, where the mind is overthinking a lot, and we might be facing a lot of repressed emotions, and just feeling, I know I've experienced this recently, where you can feel as if you've been run over by a bus when a lot of darkness comes up all at once. And the Spirit really just wants us to be gentle when we're in this state, and not reinforce the dark thoughts in the mind. Just be very gentle as they're coming up. Sometimes I say this to myself, gently, 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 just to remind us that we need to kind of sink back into the gentleness of God's love when we're, when we've got a lot of terror coming up in the mind, because it can be extremely intense on this path. You can see with all these cards that we're definitely going through a lot of stuff. But the King of Swords is very devoted to the truth, a higher truth, the absolute truth. And yeah, he's a stickler for complete honesty and for justice. And the Fool, yeah, the Fool card, I kind of see, I've said this before, I see the Fool card in 2 ways. One is that we're really naive and we kind of wet behind the ears and we go out into the world and can be very trusting. There's a line in the Course which says something about the partially innocent can be quite foolish, and I usually take that as meaning that if we think we're innocent but other people aren't, then we can end up in a bit of a mess. We do need to be guided by the Spirit, whereas the more we mature on the journey, the more we trust, the more we listen to the Spirit, and then the more we can see that everybody's innocent, and we can just relax and trust that we're taken care of. And just enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey. So yeah, I'm going through a lot of intensity, but doing well. So hang in there, boys and girls. I love you very much. We can do this together. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.